the father of the space age. That's what they call him. You know what he said? I'm not the father of the space age. That's the real father of the space age. Okay, now this guy, who was at Cal Poly Tech, right? This guy, Jack Parsons, was openly a devil worshiper. He developed the fuel that enabled us to penetrate the stratosphere. Satellites could not have come about without this guy. In his diary that he himself wrote, he had a dream. This is 1948. He had a dream where he saw somebody that he calls Belial Dajjal. And he tells him, you are helping me. Okay, I'm not making this up. You think I'm making this up? Wallahi, I'm not making this up. You go look it up yourself. Okay, so where's all this stuff coming from? Seriously, where's it all coming from? We're in the age of the Dajjal, you know. It's just Allahu Alam, when and where and what. But this is it, people. As far as I'm concerned, it's end game. Huh? That's why Allahu Akbar, water and prayer and Qibla can't take that away from us. So just keep doing, you know. I mean, Khabbab wanted to, you know, he wanted to ask for death, you know. And he was with the Prophet ﷺ. Can you imagine that? Wanting to ask for death and you're living with the Prophet? So what about the age of the Dajjal? People will go by graves saying, would that I was in his place. Laytani makanahu. So we need to prepare as much as we can. You know, but the technology, if you study where all this technology comes from, okay, you know, read about the magic and the Enlightenment period. All these scientists were magicians. They were all into black magic. You read about Francis Bacon. I just read a biography of Francis Bacon called Knowledge is Power, Magic and the Creation of Modern Science. Francis Bacon was reading all these magical books. 2001: A Space Odyssey. What's his name? No, the guy that wrote it. Arthur C. Clarke. Arthur C. Clarke, great technologist. He actually has most of the patents that enabled the satellites, right? If you look at his interview with BBC in 1961, where he predicts the internet, he predicts the cell phones, he predicts texting. He said that by the year 2000, people are going to have handheld devices that enable them to talk to anybody anywhere, right? Arthur C. Clarke said, and he has 3 laws of technology. One of his laws is, no technology reaches a level of complexity except it becomes indistinguishable from magic. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a Luddite, right? I'm using a microphone right now. I'm not a Luddite. But this whole worshipful attitude towards technology, to me, is really stupid.
The use of communication satellites on exactly the same system now being planned. Horizon filmed him at the World's Fair in New York. He's Arthur Clarke.
Trying to predict the future is a discouraging and hazardous occupation because the prophet invariably falls between 2 stools. If his predictions sound at all reasonable, you can be quite sure that in 20 or at most 50 years, the progress of science and technology has made him seem ridiculously conservative. On the other hand, if by some miracle a prophet could describe the future exactly as it was going to take place, his predictions would sound so absurd, so far-fetched, that everybody would laugh him to scorn. This has proved to be true in the past, and it will undoubtedly be true, even more so, of the century to come. The only thing we can be sure of about the future is that it will be absolutely fantastic. So, if what I say now seems to you to be very reasonable, then I'll have failed completely. Only if what I tell you appears absolutely unbelievable have we any chance of visualizing the future as it really will happen. But what about the city of the day after tomorrow, say the year 2000. I think it will be completely different. In fact, it may not even exist at all. Oh, I'm not thinking of the atom bomb and the next Stone Age. I'm thinking of the incredible breakthrough which has been made possible by developments in communications, particularly the transistor and, above all, the communications satellite. These things will make possible a world in which we can be in instant contact with each other, wherever we may be, where we can contact our friends anywhere on Earth, even if we don't know their actual physical location. It will be possible in that age, perhaps only 50 years from now, for a man to conduct his business from Tahiti or Bali just as well as he could from London. In fact, if it proves worthwhile, almost any executive skill, any administrative skill, even any physical skill, could be made independent of distance. I am perfectly serious when I suggest that one day we may have brain surgeons in Edinburgh operating on patients in New Zealand. When that time comes, the whole world will have shrunk to a point, and the traditional role of the city as a meeting place for man would have ceased to make any sense. In fact, men will no longer commute, they will communicate. They won't have to travel for business anymore, they'll only travel for pleasure. In that world of the future, we will not be the only intelligent creatures. One of the coming techniques will be what we might call bioengineering, the development of intelligent and useful servants among the other animals on this planet. However, the most intelligent inhabitants of that future world won't be men or monkeys. They'll be machines, the remote descendants of today's computers. Now, the present-day electronic brains are complete morons, but this will not be true in another generation. They will start to think, and eventually they will completely outthink their makers. Is this depressing? I don't see why it should be. We superseded the Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal men, and we presume we're an improvement. I think we should regard it as a privilege to be stepping stones to higher things. I suspect that organic or biological evolution has about come to its end, and we are now at the beginning of inorganic or mechanical evolution, which will be thousands of times swifter. But even if the future does belong to the robots, our bodies and our brains still have immense untapped potentialities. For example, to cope with the information explosion, we may develop a machine for recording information directly onto the brain, as today we can record a symphony on tape. So we may one day be able to become instant experts, learning Chinese overnight, or we may be able to recall completely memories of past events so that we seem to relive them. In fact, techniques are already known for doing this in a rather limited way at the present. Alternatively, we may prefer to totally erase past unpleasant memories. Our bodies will also be more efficient.